I've seen dozens of game pitches over the past 30 years, and many of them sounded fantastic. I remember an RPG set up in a world inspired by Far East Legends, or a cozy farming game, and also a co-op multiplayer hunting games. But what was wrong? None of those sentences actually described the game. They described an idea. And confusing a game idea with the game system is one of the biggest reasons indie projects struggle later in development. Let me explain why. A game idea, as we know, is supposed to be exciting. It should make people curious. It should make them want to hear more. But here's a problem. An idea doesn't tell you how challenges will be built. It doesn't explain why players will keep playing. An idea creates enthusiasm. A game system creates direction. So before we go any further, let me briefly introduce myself. I'm Pascal Luban. I've been working in game development for 30 years as a game designer and creative director. So I've worked on AAA games, indie projects, mobile games. I've worked for studios like Ubisoft, Activision, Sony, or DICE, and today I work as a consultant. And one thing I've observed again and again is that successful projects don't start with better ideas. They start with better game systems. The real design work actually starts when you begin answering practical questions. What creates challenge? How do players improve? How do you avoid repetition? How do you reinforce motivation? How difficult should the game become? These decisions are connected, and changing one often changes the others. And that's why I call it a game system, not a collection of mechanisms, a system. And many indie projects don't fail because the idea is weak. They fail because production begins before the game system is mature. Developers start creating levels, programming mechanics, producing art, and only later do they realize that the progression isn't satisfying, players get bored, or the rewards don't matter. Now, every correction becomes expensive. So the earlier your game system is solid, the cheaper your production becomes. Also, many aspiring game designers believe that once the game design document is finished, the design work is mostly done. In reality, that's where a different kind of game design begins. During ideation and pre-production, your job is to define the vision and make critical choices. You design the game system and possibly write the entire game design document. But once production starts, your role changes. You're no longer asking, what game should we build? Instead, you're asking, how do we turn this design into the best possible player's experience? It means that you need to document features with enough detail so the team can implement them properly. It means communicating design decisions, explaining them, running playtests and analyzing players' feedback, balancing the game, and making hundreds of small decisions that gradually improve the experience. In other words, game design doesn't stop when production begins. It evolves. It shifts from creating the vision to guiding that vision all the way to release. So actually, I see game design as two complementary skills. First, design a game players will enjoy. Second, guide that design successfully through production. Both are essential. One creates the vision, the other turns that vision into a finished game. If you are working on your own indie game, or if you are preparing for a career in game design, these are exactly the two skills I teach in my video courses available on the Udemy learning platform. The first course focuses on building a strong game system, and the second explains what game designers actually do throughout production from the initial idea to release. You'll find both links in the description below. So I'll see you in the next video, and in the meantime, happy game designing.